Alright, we're getting ready to go get my boy's license renewed. So, but anyway, I want to do this little thing about this camera here. It's a DVR more than a camera. Okay, now here's a box that come in, and it does have an HDMI on it. Now it says here HD DVR. It's a H.264 video format. Comes out as an AVI. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. Here's something important though. HDMI and USB both interface. I tried a cheaper one off of eBay, and I didn't like it as well. It didn't have an HDMI port and it wasn't the same quality. Here's what you have. It looks something like a radar detector. It does have the IR lights and stuff. It does have a mount, so let's put her in there and try it out. Okay, we got that thing suction cupped up to the window. This does have a 1/4 inch stud here, just like a tripod mount. Now, you know, I guess that works alright, but you got a knob here and one in the front here, and then this little ring here to tighten it up. It is a bit difficult, I guess, to get it in there and make it lined up where you want it, but if you put it there, you know, once, it should stay there. Okay, now this is a car DVR actually. It's not really, I'm not using it for the purpose it was intended for. It's actually to record while you're driving, and it will record over top of itself. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Now, I don't have the cigarette lighter in this truck working, but if you have it in a cigarette lighter or something that is keyed, so whenever you turn the key on, it's made that it'll automatically turn on and start recording. Now, it was a little confusing at first, but this is your on and off button over here, but there's a little blue button here that when it's recording, you can actually see it blinking. It does have that monitor that you can see what you're doing there, and that monitor does swivel and stuff, and it does sort of look like a radar detector hanging in your window. But now the rest of the audio and stuff for a while is going to be off of this little camera, so here it goes. Okay, like I said before here, this is not really its intended purpose is to be using it like this. It's actually more for like people to put in their cars to record their driving, so if there was an accident or something. Now this thing uses an SD card. It'll go up to a 32 gigabyte card. Now the thing is, when it gets to the end of that card, what it does, it'll start recording back over itself. Now, to keep them record over itself if you have a wreck and it's all in default settings, there's like a little inertia thing in there that if during a loop, if it gets into an accident, it'll freeze that loop and not record over top of that again. So there's like a inertia sensor or whatever you want to call it there in there. Now, the loops. You have the option of cutting the video up in like 5, 10, and I don't remember now. It's been a long time since I did the setup on this camera, but maybe 15 minutes. But what that basically is doing is that's how much it would freeze if you had an accident, or if you was going back to look through video footage. You're not going to have one big file through the whole card. Whatever you have it set on, if you have it set on 5-minute loops, every 5 minutes it'll start another file. That way, if you're looking for a certain file or something, you don't have to go through hours of video just to do this. Now, this thing, on its highest setting, it's supposed to be 720. I don't know. That's what it says. I don't remember the frames per minute. But it will do a little over 2 hours or so with a 32 gigabyte card. I know I was getting close to 2 hours on a 16 gig card, so 32, I guess you really could get closer to 3.5, 4 hours. Now, when I first seen this thing, it was Adam up there vlogging life, so if you don't watch Vlogging Life up there, go check him out. He bought one of these, and he got it from Deal Extreme. Okay, and I just thought it was kind of neat. You know, it was around a $50 camera, and the thing I liked about it that intrigued me was you can plug it into your cigarette lighter. It does have a battery, but you can plug it into the cigarette lighter, and if you just plug it into the cigarette lighter, you know, then the power is there all the time. And like I say, the way this thing's actually set up to do, if you just leave it plugged in, every time you start your vehicle up, it'll just start recording. And then when the power is off of it, it'll stop recording again. So that's kind of a nice feature. Now, there was some I seen on eBay for half the price, and it did not have an HDMI output jack on it. The quality was kind of rated close to the same as this camera, 720, but it just wasn't, it just nowhere near the quality of this camera. Now, I'm not saying this is the best DVR camera. I'm kind of trying to use it in the vehicle as sort of like a GoPro thing or whatever. The advantage I kind of saw was that it recorded in a loop, so it was always ready. The GoPro, I'm not really sure exactly all about that, how that works on it. But for $50, it's not bad. Now, the other thing I was mentioning earlier was this thing records in what shows up to me as an AVI file. Okay, I thought, great, you know, I can just throw that right in the movie editor and do what I want with it. But it turns out that for some reason, I use Sony Vegas mostly, and Sony Vegas just does not recognize this file. It won't take it. So that got me searching around what to do. I tried it in Windows Movie Maker, and Windows Movie Maker Live will take the file, I can cut it up, do what I want with it. It seems to be fine. But I struggled a bit to get it into Vegas. Now, I remember Adam saying something about he had to convert the file also. That leads us to this. I really like any video converter. It's the name of a video converter I use. It's just any video converter. It gives you a lot of choices, and you know, I've never really had any issues with that. Now my issue is, if I try to convert this file even back to an AVI or anything else, I lose so much of the video quality. Now, what I did do, I started experimenting, and when my Windows computer, FreeMake actually has a video converter you can use for free also. Now with that video converter, I can convert these videos over to an MP4, and with it being into an MP4, then Sony Vegas seems to be okay with it. I lose a little bit of quality, yes, but you know, sometimes it just is what it is for 50 bucks. Like I say, all in fairness, I'm not using this camera for its intended purpose. I'm trying to use it for a different purpose. So, you know, it wasn't really meant to be videos taken off of it and edited and stuff like that. But all in all, for $50, once you get past the learning curve, I guess you would call it, of how to get the video up and edited, then it's not really that bad of a camera. Now, is it waterproof or anything, you know? There's no cases or nothing like that that I know of for this camera, DVR, whatever you want to call it. But do I think in the construction that I see is it waterproof? It's probably waterproof right up to the time water hits it, and then all bets are that it'll take on water like a sinking boat. The little lens we showed you there at the beginning that you can see how you can kind of aim your camera and stuff. Now you can close that up so it's kind of out of the way. I kind of wish they had an auxiliary mic or a better mic system, but you know, it is what it is. Now, the thing about this camera is I've tried to make this video a couple different times. Once when I first got it, I was making a video, and I kind of done a test sample, just what I could see on the computer without putting it in a video editor. And I was kind of liking the camera at first, you know. And then I got messing around with trying to have to convert files and figure out what would work and all kinds of stuff. I started hating this camera, so I just kind of threw it in the corner. Now, the other camera that I got off of eBay that was $20-some, it had a different file format and it did work with the movie editors, but the video quality wasn't very good. Now, I guess you call this thing a love-hate relationship, me and this camera, because sometimes I love it and other times I just hate it. Is it the simplest thing to use and set up? Well, once you get it set up like you want it, you know, at the highest quality, and most everything else I've kind of just went back to the default settings on everything. Once the camera's actually set up, then it's not really that big of a deal to do the camera and record with it, because when you start the car up and power the camera on, it just automatically records and you go, you know. If you don't see anything you want to capture or keep, you just keep letting it record over itself. So those are nice features. The power cord is a nice feature. Would it replace an action camera, like say a GoPro, a Contour, or things like that? No. Would I want to hook this to a helmet and go up the street? Probably not, but you know, maybe we'll try it sometime. We'll see. I really don't know what it would do to wind. It's okay made, but it's not high quality. You couldn't throw it around. I don't know. If someone asked me if they should buy this camera, and they've been looking at GoPros, and they wanted to do any kind of anything involving around water, well, I guess let me put it this way: anything other than driving in your car, I would say do not buy this camera. Buy a GoPro or anything else, more in the action camera line. But just for doing driving vlogs and different things like that, if you can get over, I guess it depends on what movie maker you use too, you know, what video editing software. I don't know, it might work with other videos, it might just be something with it in Vegas, I really don't know. But if you can get over the having to convert the file, and then, which is simple actually, once you have your video converter set up, you just open it up, drag the video in there, click on a button, and it just does it for you. So, you know, that's really, it's just another step and a little time consuming, but that's really not a hard thing to do. But if you don't mind doing that, and you're just wanting to drive around and talk and stuff, then, and if the audio quality is good enough for you, then I think it's not a bad deal for $50. Now the other thing about this camera is that it is an overcast day and it's raining. But I tried it also at night, and if you're in town somewhere there's a lot of street lights, it does, I mean, you can kind of tell there's cars around and stuff. I guess what I'm saying, it's not very good at night in my opinion. Now when the sun's out and you come up over a little ridge or something and there happens to be sun right in the camera lens, once in a while it does take a few seconds for that to adjust to the light, but it's not that bad for, like I say, a $50 camera. So for daytime use, I'd say it's alright. Nighttime, I don't really think it's really worth using. But anyway, that's kind of a summary about this camera. It is a little more work to use it for something like this that I'm using it for. But, you know, you can sit there in your car and just run, and if something happens, you can capture that moment quicker than if you had to pick a camera up and start filming at that moment. So, with that being said, you know, there's a lot of these out there too, a lot of different models of these. I would just suggest that you make sure it's got a good picture and has like an HDMI port or something. The ones without HDMI port is probably a lot lower quality. So, oh hey, one other thing. I don't know if you'll see these, Will got his license. Alright, so he's all good to go, ready to drive again. Alright, thanks for watching.